You know, there was a dog burning in the alley last night. Somebody set a dog on fire. The fire department had to come and put it out. It stunk up the whole neighborhood.
Matthew Genitempo. I'm from Houston originally, but currently residing in San Antonio, Texas.
This is a love song about our government. It's called Death to You. This is our politics on a fucking dirty ride. Vaccine on C95. Franklin on the government supply. Fucking on the other side, death to die. This is our
What is Dogbreath?
I don't really know.
I guess you could say it's about stray youth, it's about adolescence, it's about suburban malaise, it's about enduring the heat in Tucson. One of the kids called Tucson, Los Angeles after the apocalypse. That's one thing that I just could not shake. And I kept thinking about that. The behind the scenes of this work was like a re-investigation into my own musical history. When 2020 happened, a lot of people were kind of taking stock, reevaluating things. And a lot of that for me was going back and trying to understand the music that made me me. And kind of filling in blanks and kind of blind spots and listening to bands that I knew were around at the time, but I had missed. So there was so much musical discovery and rediscovery going on during this time. Back then it was difficult to get access to certain types of music, or just the discovery process was a lot more difficult. So you relied a lot on friends and friends' older brothers to kind of usher you into more interesting realms of music. I remember staying up really late with my brother watching 120 Minutes because that was a way to find new music. And then I remember looking at the liner notes of CDs that I had and looking at the bands that they thanked to try to go find them. And I don't know. It truly felt like a hunt, which was I think really valuable. Is having everything accessible all the time serving us? Because a lot of the things that, made me me is because I didn't have access to something, or I learned something the incorrect way. Like all of that stuff kind of, I think, helps you build up these idiosyncrasies that make you, you. Like, you might have learned to, hold a G chord the wrong way, or you learned how to do something, someone taught you how to do something incorrectly, but then you adapt and it kind of becomes yours. And I think about that a lot with photography too. It's like, I have these pictures that kind of hang around in the back of my head, and usually when I pull the book out and go look at the photograph that's been hanging around in my head, it's usually not as good as it is in the back of my head. So if these things are kind of hanging around in the back of my head and they're not, I don't have access to them, I can kind of let the residual nature of that kind of make its way into my practice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And like the distance kind of creates its own filter where your memory of the thing is actually what sticks with you, and then when you go back and reference it, maybe it changes the way that you perceive it. But yeah,
absolutely.
The distance creates a different feeling. How do you think running has shaped like the way that you do work, and how did it shape this project?
Running has been it's been the only other consistent thing in my life besides photography. And I mean, actually even more consistent, because I run every day, and I don't make pictures every day. I try to spend some time every day with photographs, or with like my work or art in general. It's really taught me a lot more about my own artistic practice than I ever thought it would. I think early on I had the idea that creative practice is some sort of like magical thing that just kind of comes down and strikes you whenever it feels like it, or maybe that some people are chosen and some people aren't. But I don't think that's the case anymore, just because running has taught me that showing up is the most important thing, and consistently doing it and working hard at it. Running is good realistically maybe like 5 to 10% of the time. The rest of the time it's not great, but the 5 to 10% that is great is really, really great.
Yeah.
And the margins for photography is even smaller. Like I would say that like 99% of the pictures that I make are god awful, but the ones that really work, really, really work, and make the bad parts of it worth it. I don't always want to go into the studio and mess with pictures, and I don't always want to go out and make pictures or work on painting. I don't like to get started. And the same thing happens with running. Like I don't like putting my shoes on in the morning. I don't like the first mile. It takes me a little while to get warmed up. But once I get going, I'm really happy that I'm out there, and I can clip into something that I can only get to if I just start. So if I can keep that same way of thinking and apply it towards, making pictures or showing up at the studio, I don't know, it just always works. And not treating it like it's this, kind of this amorphous thing that I have to wait to find me. I can just show up and start working, and I'll usually find it in some way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I show up to the studio and I go through stuff and I'm looking through work, and I end up leaving the studio more frustrated than when I went in, because I have more problems to sort out as far as the work. But I'm always happy that's there, like that I have, at least I identified a problem that I have to sort out.
Right, and it's like identifying steps too. It's like you don't know what the next step is until you identify what it is, and the only way to do that is to consistently go at it.
Show up, yeah.
Yeah.
like Ron and Todd. Todd loves Judas Priest. He's a hippie. I know, he told me he was going to go see him. I couldn't believe it. He's going to see Rush too. Look at his band. TS Will's a rock and roll band.